So this is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, 3 cameras, 6.2 inches, and a super slim design, even slimmer than the phone it's going to face off today, the iPhone 16 Pro, 3 cameras, 6.3 inches. Let's find out which one comes out on top in the area of performance. The S25 being the cheaper phone here, with the iPhone going to run you a few $100s more. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Let's go ahead and begin this speed test with a boot up in 3, 2, go. Now, I can tell you right away that yes, some people are going to say that the S25 Plus is more competitive with this phone. In the area of price, you would be correct, but the S25 is kind of like the same size, 3 cameras, the kind of same the feel as the iPhone 16 Pro. Whereas the Plus is like more like a 16 or like a 15 Pro Max size at 6.7 inches, and you've seen that the S25 turned on quite a bit faster than that of the iPhone 16 Pro. So the first win is going to go to the Galaxy S25. Some people say, yeah, never going to reboot my phone. Sometimes phones crash and you do have to reboot them. To be quite honest with you, that has happened numerous times to me over the past year. Right, so taking a look at the S25, when it comes to their fingerprint sensor, we have ultrasonic, and you'll see that it kind of just goes right in, even if the screen is off. Now, it's not as convenient if like your fingers are dirty. Sometimes it'll still work, or if you have gloves on, it could be a little bit less convenient on this phone, but still it's very quick, and you can actually unlock this without, looking at it at all. So that could be faster, I would say. Okay, so picking up the iPhone 16 Pro, you could see Face ID, one swipe in, and we also can unlock that on the S25 in a similar fashion if we do set up the face unlock. So it's very, very nice here to unlock this phone, and it does feel a little bit wider, a little bit less comfortable, but a little bit heftier, and some people would maybe associate that with a little bit more premium. So let me know which one you would go with in terms of the size, the design, the shape. Which one do you prefer of these two? The lighter, slimmer build of the S25, or a slightly heftier, more rounded corners? And while these are rounded, these feel just a little bit more rounded on the iPhone. Generally scrolling through One UI 7 with the vertical app drawer now, and then going through here, it's just incredibly smooth day to day. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, whether you're opening apps, opening settings, swiping through settings, pulling out the edge panel, the entire software, calculator, whatever you're doing, the entire software, going over here, reading articles, whatever you're doing, I don't care. Bring it up, bring up apps, close them out. It doesn't matter. This phone generally just flies through everything on the software. And while there are some other competing Android phones that might be maybe slightly smoother to some people's eyes, Samsung has really knocked it out of the park with the One UI experience here on One UI 7 on the S25. And the same could be said here for the iPhone 16 Pro. Just really smooth, really fast. I will say that the iPhone feels a little slower, as if just the way you kind of navigate it, it kind of like keeps up with your pace. I feel like the Samsung is a little bit faster than most people are going to scroll through, but it's still nice. But if you like a more natural, maybe slower feel to look at the animations and see that stuff, I think you might like the speed of how this phone operates here on the iPhone 16 Pro. So let me know what you prefer of these two in terms of how they operate and generally move along the software day to day. Either way you go though, here you are winning on both, but you do get kind of the same performance for much less money on the S25 there over the iPhone 16 Pro, and a 120 Hertz display more at the price of something like the base iPhone 16. So S25 definitely beating the base iPhone 16 in my opinion. Right, so everything is closed out for both phones, and let's go ahead and begin with calendar. And you could see the animation slightly moving along faster on the Samsung. When we swipe out, they both have non-linear animations. They look really smooth. How about clock? And again, it flies open a little faster there on the Samsung. If we go over to alarms, stopwatch, timers, swipe out, we'll go into calculator. What's nice here about the S25 though is that we do now have ourselves 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's actually up over the iPhone 16 Pro's 8 gigabytes of RAM. So there's more RAM on the base S25 at the same price tag as basically the base 16. You get more RAM on the left. And you could just see, just looking at the phones here, that the Samsung looks a little slimmer, a little more lightweight. Let's swipe up out of there and let's go into Apple News and Samsung News. And you'll see Apple News was quicker there. As we scroll through, they kind of look similar in this area. You'll see Apple's scrolling a little slower. We do have a faster scroll there on the Samsung, but there's not much in them. Both of them are going to be very, very nice when navigating your day-to-day usage. Let's go into App Store, Play Store, and you'll see that was quicker on the left by a long shot. Let's take games on both products, and you'll see that the Samsung seeming to launch that a little quicker. Let's go into X, or formerly known as Twitter, and it looks like Samsung was loading that first. Let me go over here to profile pages on both. As I scroll through, you'll see a little smoother, I feel like, on neither. They're both kind of a little bit jumpy there. Both of them are pretty decent though. Let's go into Gemini, and you would expect that being faster on the Android phone, and it was as we swipe up out of here. So let's go into Amazon now, and you'll see that was faster on the left by just a little bit. Let me swipe out. Okay, so let's go into YouTube here on both, and let's go over here to trending on both products, and we'll go into music. We'll head over to gaming. How about movies? And as we swipe through, both of them very well optimized in YouTube, so you're going to have no major issues on that one. We're going to go into Groupon now, and you'll see Groupon was first there on the left. If I hit categories and I scroll down to oil change and maintenance, we scroll down here, a little bit smoother scrolling for Groupon on the right for sure. Definitely better developed there. Let's head into Dead Trigger 2, and we'll see which one can launch this game first. 8 Elite goes first to the left. Man, this Samsung flies. I honestly think there's a lot of things about the regular S25 that's even better than the iPhone over here. Looks like we were in a different area of the game. So let me go ahead and relaunch them just in case, just to see if there was any difference. We'll go to Dead Trigger 2, and then we go ahead and hit play. And you'll see, nope, the Samsung was faster here over the iPhone. So let's swipe up out of there. We'll go to Subway Surfers, and here goes Samsung. No, it's going to be the iPhone for the win there. I thought Samsung was winning on one, but iPhone came back with the W. Let's head up out of here, and we'll go into Brawl Stars now, and we'll see what happens for Brawl Stars. Which one's going to take this casual game, and you're going to see that it's going to go to Samsung, I think. I think Samsung had that. I could be wrong. This, for some reason, is reconnecting, but let's go ahead and see here. Once you're in the game, no major issues. They're both going to be pretty fun to use. No problems. Let's swipe up out of there. We're going to go into Race the Sun and see which one can launch this first. And it does look like Samsung again. So the 8 Elite, I'm telling you guys, is no joke. It really is no joke. It's a very, very powerful chipset, and it's probably overkill for a lot of people, honestly. Let's go into Call of Duty. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 was already amazing for phones, but now the 8 Elite just taking it to another level. And you could see for the first time in years, most of the S25 series seems to run along at the same clip, or maybe even slightly faster in some departments over the iPhone, but not this one, because Call of Duty did go first to the iPhone 16 Pro. However, both of these phones wouldn't be my top recommendation for mobile gaming because both of them are the smaller of the bunch. I would rather go with the Max or the Ultra if you are looking for extended gaming sessions. They're going to have better heat management. They're also going to have just a better experience because you're doing 120 hertz on a larger screen. Samsung would have been into the Free Fire game first, so Samsung wins that. Let's go into PUBG Mobile and see what happens here. And as we continue to hold on, game mode does appear. It looks like the iPhone's going to pull ahead in PUBG Mobile, but you never know. They could come back there. Let's go ahead and accept all. And we'll hit more. We'll hit guest, agree. Okay. And this one over here, we're going to skip. We'll go like that. So Samsung was in a little bit faster there. It's pretty close. There wasn't a big deal of difference. You can definitely play both these games very smoothly on both phones. Let's swipe out. We're going to go on the speed test net, and you're going to find, I think that was the iPhone. I'm pretty sure it was. Let's go into Geekbench Checks. Call me out if I'm wrong. I'm trying to look at the camera, making sure things are in focus while also like swiping through the apps. So if I miss one here or there, let me know. Let's go into 3D Mark. And that looked faster on the right. Let's go into LumaFusion, and that looked faster on the Samsung. So overall, I gotta say, I think Samsung might have took more of these apps, but Apple did pull ahead in the gaming, like Call of Duty. But then Samsung struck back at Free Fire. It depends on how well the app is developed, but this has got a really nice GPU, the 830, the Snapdragon 8 Elite, 12 gigabytes of RAM. This has a really nice A18 Pro, but 8 gigabytes of RAM. A little bit slower feel with iOS so lately, so the animations are quicker. I'd say the Samsung feels faster day to day than this phone right here, the iPhone 16 Pro. That doesn't mean when you really push it in things like video editing that it would beat it. It's just really going to come down to how well is the app developed for each. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at RAM management now and see how the Samsung does. You can see that with the nonlinear animations, it looks really smooth when you swipe back, like the closeout effect is really improved. This is an area that Samsung has really fixed on Samsung phones. In my prior years of speed tests with these phones, they never looked quite as nice in this part of the test. Let's go over here. But now I feel like even the base, you're not sacrificing anything. You get great performance. 3 cameras, that wasn't so great, Gemini. And don't tell me it's not downloaded. I downloaded it. You get great performance and great animations and 12 gigs of RAM and 3 cameras. The sacrifice here is one thing. You're getting a 1080p display. Let's take a look at the iPhone now. Okay, here for the iPhone 16 Pro, you can see very smooth as well. They kind of feel the same in this department now. There's not a massive disparity. Let's see if the iPhone can hold all of its apps though, because I do believe one of them relaunched. So a little choppy looking there on a couple of those. I feel like it still does that iPhone thing where it like pauses. Gemini surprisingly was better there. It doesn't look quite, I feel like the animations, I'm not even kidding, might look slightly smoother on the S25, but I think this held the apps a little nicer. So I'm going to give the iPhone this one for this round, but it wasn't like a massive change. Still, the iPhone's going to get the W here. The Samsung did really well, but Gemini was a little weird, and I think it had like one reload. I think it was Instagram. Something was reloading. I forget which app it was, but yeah, the iPhone held them a little nicer here. Our final results are in, and you can see that the iPhone came out ahead by 1,000 points over the Samsung S25. It also came out a little bit ahead on the multi-core for the S25 over the iPhone. So they kind of switched there. So what do you want? Do you want maybe the better gaming performance on the Samsung or the better single core performance? However, I will tell you that both of these phones here in the real world, you just seen throughout most of those other tests that the Samsung feels on the same level, so you don't even notice that. Also, we can go ahead and do a Wildlife Extreme here. But what I will say is that the Samsung device, that's the wrong test. Hold on, let me get up out of here and do this again. The Samsung has improved animations over the previous years, and the iPhone has been having good animations. So it just feels like they're so neck and neck now. It's down to your budget. It's down to your preferences for the OS, because you are really winning in terms of getting a great phone, no matter which brand you're choosing here. So I'll be back to see with you guys their final 3D Mark Extreme tests. I'll be back. And while the scores are lower here for the 3D Mark on these versus like the Max and the Ultra, you do see 34 FPS with a 5,792 on the Samsung, scoring better than 97% of devices on the market. This one, 4512, 27 FPS, scoring better than 88% of devices. So according to the Geekbench, there are some wins for the iPhone, but according to this test, the Samsung is crushing the 16 Pro at several $100s cheaper. So a lot of people overlook the base model because they look at the Ultra all the time, but the base model is still a beast in your pocket, as is the 16 Pro, but you kind of pay for it with this one. I feel like this one, if you do a trade-in, you get beast performance for a lower price, especially with the trade-in discount. So that's pretty much how I feel about that phone. And then I feel like this one, you would just expect it because of what you're paying. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and launch the cameras now. We'll see which one can actually fire off that camera first. And you've seen it look like the iPhone. Let me go ahead and close that out, and we'll do this again. 3, 2, go. Yeah, the iPhone seems to fire the camera first. Shutter speeds are kind of similar here. I still think Samsung zooming is not as smooth as the iPhone. The transitions on this slider here just feel a little nicer for the iPhone, although it's not a big deal. Still does great on both, but iPhone's camera, to me, a little bit smoother. Video-wise, I'd still pick the iPhone. In terms of versatility of features, I'd pick the Samsung, and you do have 3 cameras on the base model. You have to go to the Pro to get 3 here. So let's wrap it up. I would say the Samsung, probably the more faster phone here. According to our benchmarks and our real world tests, it just seemed to be a little bit swifter than the 16 Pro. But the 16 Pro still shines for having an A-series chip, and in certain applications, certain things you're doing, the iPhone will beat this phone. So they're pretty close. Which one would you pick? I'd like to know down below in the comments. And if you have any more questions, comments, concerns, and you'd like to see any more videos with these two compared, let me know down below. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will catch you all in the next episode. Be sure to be well. Nick here, and peace.